my first presentation, I was trying to think, how many have I done in the last, I'm going on my 8th year. And some of this are the things that you guys have seen before, but I thought it'd be a great refresh because we are officially back in person doing our workshops and seminars in person again, not just on Zoom, which we had been doing for the last 2 years. So I wanted you all to get a preview of what we're covering so that you can think about your referrals and the benefit they would get, but obviously, hopefully you'll get something too out of me going, because a lot of you are business owners. So to kick off, I just wanted to, you can turn it, show you my team has grown a lot. I just mentioned in my 32nd, we're now a team of 6 coaches. We're about to hire our 7th coach, and always looking for referrals for anyone who wants to actually, this is a common career that people want to get into, but they don't know how to get into it. So if you know anyone that's already working with B2B and would like to work with business owners and really helping them create a life for themselves and not just a job that sucks the life out of them, it's a really rewarding team to be a part of. And what we're doing, we're celebrating 15 years this year, so pretty cool. As a franchise, some of you don't realize that we're actually global, so we're in over 80 countries. You think about, every business owner feels so unique, and you might even hear that from some of the objections when you try to refer me, is like, oh, my business is so unique. What I do is so specific, how could they possibly understand? This is in over 80 countries, and you can mention this to them. That's a lot of different languages and business models and industries and cultural differences, religious differences, and guess what? They have the same stuff in common. Pretty amazing. So I'm going to share some of those commonalities with you. The vision that really inspires my team and inspires this global franchise is the idea that we can create abundance just by simply empowering business owners to understand how to be an owner instead of having a job. Because they're the creators of all of our local jobs, a lot of our local economy boosting, and the minute we empower them with how to do that, it creates more and more for everybody. That's something we're very focused on. I'm proud to say we've won a lot of awards and top acknowledgments. We used to be top 20, and now if you click, we can change it to we're in the top 5 globally as a firm. That's a lot because of your support, and also growing an incredible team is what's happening. I've actually been asked to speak, and I'm just speaking in Nashville when we go there in a few weeks about how to build a team, because we're one of the only ones in the US and definitely globally that are building a firm and hiring coaches like we are, and it's something the franchise wants to see more of going forward, so we've been a shining example of what to do and how to really grow the business. So we're starting to do a 6 steps to a better business workshop. What's cool about this that's different from before is we're also hosting an Entrepreneur Day. Some of you might have seen testimonials or things on my social media about that. That's our existing members are coming together once a month to really learn and strategize together. There's a mastermind. We're facilitating networking, because who doesn't want to do business with people that are like-minded and actually growing themselves and educating themselves? That's a lot of what's going on here. This is just in the form of educating on how to be an owner and operating at that level of business. So when you extend a referral to this, they're paying $47. They're getting from 9:15 until lunch at 12. They're getting education. We're hitting on these key points, which are the 6 steps to growing a business that works without you, which is in the white. We're teaching them how to maximize their cash flow, the main drivers of cash flow. They're actually getting this list of strategies of how to grow their cash flow. And they're also getting an amazing tool, which I brought an example, to start focusing on what they need to do next as a key challenge. They don't have to recreate it, it's already written down. It's really about getting them focused and on to the next step. And they actually get a strategy session to sit down with one of our coaches and work through that challenge so they can actually get application and action going. So it's a huge value for them. And then they leave the seminar and they go to the main networking that's happening in the main room, which is anywhere from 40 to 60 of our existing members in our community. So they're getting massive networking and connections being made in that room before they leave. So they're getting lunch, they're getting education, they're getting a lot of networking for just $47. So if you flip the slide, I wanted to, you can keep clicking. Just a couple things. So most people get into business because they want more time. I ask this all the time. They say more time, they want to make more money instead of working for someone else, and they want to be their own boss. A lot of that comes out in like freedom, or the ability to do whatever they want, or not to be told how to grow their business or how many hours they can work. And the inside joke, and most of you know this because you're business owners, is once you're a business owner, you end up having no time. You're kind of running around, answering your phone constantly, thinking about the business all the time. Their money is very inconsistent. It's definitely not this like funnel of money constantly coming. Sometimes there's ups and downs to it. And now you work for a lunatic. That's kind of the punchline. But you know, you got a lot of hats to wear, and it can be overwhelming at times because the phone rings and you're like, am I the HR person? Am I the salesperson? Am I the customer service manager? Am I HR now? Like, who am I being, constantly switching gears? And it can be very chaotic. So what we really help them focus on is how do you actually become a business owner that has a business that works without you? Because then you have truly reached the ownership box in your business and your org chart. Here's the facts, is that if you look at why do businesses fail, so some of you understand that in the first 5 years, 80% of businesses fail. So there's also this other really heavy, dark side of this that we're very passionate about changing these statistics. And you might not realize that this is a big burden. It causes a lot of alcoholism, suicide. Number 2 in suicide is business owners. So this is a very heavy thing too, not just the optimistic, abundant side, but there's some issues going on here too. And the reason why a lot of them say that they failed, if you look at just this one study, 63,000 failed business owners said 87% said they didn't seek professional advice soon enough. Do you think business owners get advice? The answer is yes. I ask this question all the time. Where do you get advice from? Some of them will admit Google. Not all of them will admit that. A lot of them say friends and family. But as we know, a lot of our friends and family are employees and think we're crazy to be business owners. When they ask other business owners, they kind of commiserate and have the same issues, but don't necessarily know how to resolve those issues. Sometimes they have mentors and try to copy what they did, but that doesn't always work for them, what worked for somebody else. So this is really the key to you guys to say, you know, for your referrals and for yourselves, that this is a challenge for you personally. How do you seek professional advice? How do you start educating yourself just on how to be an owner? Because I can tell you something, I can guarantee that if you don't know how to work on your business and be an owner, you are destined to always work in your business and have a job. There's no way around that. Like if you don't start, you know, we know in B&I, you have to learn more to earn more. We've heard that a million times, right? Yes? Hello, are you guys here? Yeah, we've heard that a million times, but the same goes for not just referrals, but how to be an owner. The only way you're gonna earn more is to stop trading your hourly wage for a dollar amount and to really start being an owner of your business. It's the only way it's gonna shift, but it's gotta start shifting in how you see things and what you're applying and what you're doing. And if you don't know what to squeeze in your schedule and make time for, then you surely are not going to make time to do that. So you've gotta be more aware. So as I start to wrap, I just want to share one thing that I can leave you with to start focusing on. And if this is a reminder for some of you, great. If this is the first time, even better. But these are the key metrics that really grow profitability. And the coolest thing about these is they have a compound effect. We've all heard work smarter, not harder. Yes? This is the epitome of that when it comes to cash flow, which is a critical piece of growth, especially if you're going to hire support and not do everything yourself. You need cash flow to do that. So we're all familiar with leads, you know, getting someone to raise their hand that's interested in your business. So this is just a small business example, and we're just gonna add 10% growth to that in a year. So it goes from 4,000, you can click with me as I'm doing this, 4,000 to 4,400. Conversion rate, so how well do you actually convert that to a customer? Going from 25% to 27.5%, but watch what happens to customers. It's not a 10% growth. It's a 21% growth because you're getting the compound effect of working on 2 areas at once that have a relationship. And then the second section is instead of doing business with you 2 times a year, they're coming back 2.2 times a year. And instead of spending $100, they're spending $110. These are simple strategies that McDonald's 16-year-olds can do. Like, do you want fries with that? These are very simple. And remember, they're already written down. Like, you don't even have to recreate them. They're right here. Well, watch what happens to profit when we get all the way down through all 6, 10%. We just grew profit by 61%. Can I get a wow? Wow. Yeah. I like to have fun too. But it's powerful when you think about business owners are typically happy, and Andrew knows this, with 10%. They're like excited if they have a 10% profit growth year over year. So imagine for you and your referrals, learning how to maximize it to 61% or higher. A lot of the business owners we start working with in the beginning, this is much higher because they have not even been paying attention to this or working on it. Year over year, you keep adding these strategies, layering them in, and it's amazing to see what happens. We also, you can flip through this really quickly. We go through, you know, how to go from this chaotic state to stability, how to create predictable cash flow, so you can grow, how to get your efficiency and time, and then how to actually get a management structure in place so you have freedom, and then we can pass them over to Robert to work on sale or exiting. And I can say that out of, normally statistically, it's 15% of business owners sell out of 100. So 85% do not sell. But 100% of our clients who have put this in place and have gone to market have sold, 100%. And they have gotten more than they expected to give. And I'm not trying to impress you, I'm trying to impress upon you, like this is really important stuff. If you do want to have a business that you can retire on and sell successfully, and in the meantime, get the time and the profitability and the freedom that you originally went into business to get, that most business owners do. So knowing is not enough. We really focus on action. That's why we're called ActionCOACH. We really focus on helping business owners apply it. So we also don't charge, like I had a client get charged $100,000 that came in 5 weeks and left, and he had no idea how to apply any of it. We're actually there with them on a regular basis, helping them implement this stuff for years if that's what it takes. We're there with them, helping to make sure that they know how to implement it. Because knowing is one thing, but doing is really the difference. That's it.
Juliet, okay.
Yep.
Oh, I guess I gotta get, who's taking track of time here?
Cameron.
Oh, good. Give me the 5-minute mark, actually, because this is fantastic. I want to actually deviate from my own presentation a little, because what Juliet is over here, it's quite outstandingly said.
Do you want your intro or no?
Yeah, let's do, I don't think that's okay. I want to cut to the chase, because I think Juliet, what she's done has inspired me to add a few more things that I want to talk about. I'm going to deviate a little bit from this.
You can do it.
My hero. Anyway, I got actually, they said when I took the MSP, BNI, they said they have the 3 top ones. Well, no, it's kind of changing from that. I'm a business broker with Sunbelt Business Brokers. My name is Robert Cemovich. And basically, the kinds of businesses that I'm looking for are those that have a steady stream of patients, clients, customers, what name you, what we call a book of business. I'm not looking for the more unique ones, like the restaurateur, the famous chef, or anything like that. Those are the best forms of business because investors love them. 1,100 people a day moving into the state of Florida. Many of them are buying businesses, and they are looking for that stream of businesses. So, anyway, I'm with Sunbelt. The next slide there. Sunbelt is the largest, actually, we say business intermediary because no one likes to say the word business brokerage, but it's the largest business brokerage in the world. We're all over the world, Asia, Europe, North America, everywhere else, and we actually have right now more active listings than all of our major competitors combined. So the Sunbelt is very large. It's been in business. It's famous for its book called Selling Your Business for Dummies. It was actually published in 1990. I'm sure none of you have ever seen it since then. But anyway, it's around then. So anyway, that's what Sunbelt is. I joined them for that reason because they are actually, like, when you list with them, they go on 74 different sites. So when I decided to become a business broker, I picked them for that reason. Plus, they're also very much experienced in the industry. And that's a little bit about my background. I was basically born in Tonawanda, New York, all along the Rust Belt. My father was in the industrial solvents and chemicals business. We used to call it the industrial belt. Whenever anyone said rust, that was pejorative, but it is the Rust Belt. Right where it started. Grew up also in Cleveland, where he was working there, and then ends up in Chicago, where basically Rust Belt ends. From there, I went to University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, got my bachelor's in marketing, almost got a bachelor's in German language and literature. Didn't finish the last 2 courses, ended up with a minor. Went to law, University of Wisconsin-Madison, and from there, actually, I went then later on to get my MBA in statistics. Yes, I was a math junkie at that time. I couldn't add 2 and 2 anymore today. But I was a statistics, University of Chicago. So next phase, then I went, these are my professional years. I was a commercial real estate, actually commercial lender for 3 years, a little bit in the commercial real estate side, but mainly in the business loans in Chicago area, Bank of Montreal, Harris Banks. Was a consultant for years with this company called Booz, actually you would know, Eric, Beltway Band is Booz Allen in Hamilton. Actually, you know, my mailing address was McLean, Virginia for 11 years, even though I only lived there 6 months. But, so I was with Booz Allen in Hamilton for a little bit over 6 years, Stewart International, for 13 years solid as a consultant. I still do some consultancies for these folks for over the last 28 years, but not as frequent anymore because I like to just stay put over here in Florida. I love it here. I've been a lawyer in Florida since 2005. I've been a lawyer actually for 31 years, but I took the Florida bar and I started a law practice here, actually in Venice and in Sarasota area about almost 18 years ago. And basically March of 2018 is when I became a business broker, when I decided to go with Sunbelt. I've scaled back my law practice drastically over the years, and I only handled a few clients that started with me back then out of pure loyalty and all, so that's why I continue that, but otherwise I am really a business broker. Next slide, please. Anyway, how does it work? It works all like Marianne Harrison. I'm just like you, Marianne, totally commission-based. We have a BBF similar to what you have with the Association of Realtors, the Realtors Board, self-regulating organization. We're regulated that way, and we actually have an MLS. How many of you know what an MLS is? You know, like buying and selling houses. Yeah. Business brokerage is the same thing. There's an MLS also. So when you list through us, Sunbelt, we are actually subscribed to the MLS just like a realtor is, and you get all this information up on this, what we call the BLI, Buyer's Listing Information Sheet. And as I mentioned earlier, it goes through 70 different websites. One of the things we do, or at least I do, I will go through and I'll provide a free evaluation. I heard about some of these guys charging $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 for it. I don't do that. Well, it's similar to Marianne. You do a CMA, I'm sure you do all that analysis. You're not going to charge the guy for that. I can't understand some of these guys, they do. But so anyway, I do a free evaluation. We can make certain decisions on how to move forward. But unlike real estate, when you're selling a business, when you go on the MLS, you know, in real estate, you buy a house, you look at the address, you drive by, you find out who the owner is. With businesses, typically the owner does not want to go and advertise that he's selling because someone's going to poach his clientele, his employees. And indeed, when I used to be a lawyer, I handled hundreds of these business sales and acquisitions. I remember one time we had to cancel closing because 100% of the owner's staff, restaurateur, prominent chef, skedaddled when they found out he's selling. That's why the confidentiality is extremely important. And let me just show you the BLI in the next slide. It's not really easily legible, but that's kind of what you look at. It shows a lot of things in there, information, not the name, but it shows how many full-time employees, how many part-time employees, how many hours a week the owner works. This is I want to get into what Juliet said. And I'll get into the next. Anyway, next slide, please.
3 minutes.
5 minutes?
3.
Okay, three left?
Yeah.
Okay, good, perfect. All right, well, anyway, why me? I have been consistently since I started on the $1 Million circuit, you know, with for the brokerage. I have a proven track record. I bring the knowledge of all my professional and education to my clients, and it is commission based. I don't get paid unless we close. It's just like with Marianne. You list it, the buyer gets his business, and the seller gets his money, and that's how we get paid. It's, if the seller closes, that's the only way we get compensated. The other thing too, that I'm also different than the others. I'm not neutral. Commission's always the same. I take the side of one side. I mean, 99.9% of my colleagues, it's okay, it's fine, they're transaction brokers. I take the side, the lawyer in me likes to stay on one side only. Not I'm going against anybody, but I take the side of either the buyer, like Nick and I worked with someone recently with the HVAC. I was on his side only. I was also usually with the sellers, I'm on the seller's side. And my commission, I charge the same or less than my competitors because I make enough money on the commission anyway. But I want to get into what Juliet was saying. One of the things on that BLI is what you were saying about owner's hours. I've had it now happen. Now this is observational, but I know it's right. I had a medical billing practice. I looked through all the numbers. The numbers were beautiful. $480,000 it should sell for at a minimum. But guess what? Owners, 2 owners, they're the sole employees, and they're working 60 hours a week. I couldn't get more than $200,000 for it. The numbers are beautiful, but the investors are smart. They said, oh, wait a minute. You guys are both going to leave. I'm not going to buy this thing. I don't care if they've been 31 years in business. They should have had a coach. And I had another one too. Another one, this was actually horrible. He was a lawn and landscaping successful. He's been in this town, look, I shouldn't have said it, but there's many lawn and landscaping. He's been over 40 years. Guess what happened? Wife gets sick. He's now a caregiver. He's 71. Worse than that. His foreman quit. His chief employee died. Guess what? We just sold nothing but a bunch of broken equipment, really, and maybe a little bit of the customer list. They should have planned. It is so smart to do that because before you see me, when you're in a rush or someone's dying or someone's husband died who's a plastic surgeon, all of a sudden it's too late. The Action Coach is vital. By the way, this is my presentation to Robert Cemovich. Thank you. You are great.
Thank you.